Hello everyone. In this video, we're going over some terminology from Chapter 1. So we're going to talk about the difference between samples and populations, the difference between statistics and parameters, what sampling error is, and also the difference between descriptive and inferential statistics. So a population is the entire group of people of interest in a study. I'm usually talking about people just because this is for a psychology class, but it doesn't have to be people. It could be trees or plants or clouds or whatever you're studying. So an example of a population would be all college-bound seniors in the United States in a given year, right? Or it could be all people with depression at a particular university. A sample is a subset of people from the population that are selected to be in a given study. So I'm not going to be able to get all college-bound seniors in the United States in my study. So instead, I would select a sample to be in the study. And a random sample of 1,000 college-bound seniors in a given year would be an example of that. So when you're working with populations and samples, you're going to compute values from those different entities. Now, a parameter is a value that describes a population. So if I compute the average ACT score for all college-bound students who took the ACT in a given year, that would be a value that describes that population, right? And that would be called a population parameter. Oddly, in that case, for ACT scores, we probably actually can get a population parameter because we know the scores, the organization that gives that test collects data from everybody who took that test. Okay? Usually we don't have access to an entire population. Instead, we're working with a sample. And when we compute values from samples, they're called statistics. So they're sample statistics. So this could be if we took 1,000 college-bound seniors who took the ACT and computed their average ACT score, that value would be a sample statistic. So note that they both start with S, sample statistic, and for population parameters, they both start with P. Now, ideally, your sample statistic would perfectly represent the population, but it rarely does. So there's always going to be some sort of discrepancy between your sample statistic and population parameters. And that difference between your sample stat and the population parameter is called sampling error. Okay. So we're going to talk later on in the class about how do you reduce sampling error, because you really want your statistics to represent the population well. But the ways you do that generally are to have a larger sample size, but also in terms of research methodology, choosing a sample that represents that population. In this class, we'll be doing both descriptive statistics and inferential. We'll start with descriptive statistics and then move on to inferential later in the class. All right, and that is all for this video.